Hey guys, and welcome back to Scar Bites. So without further ado, we're gonna finally talk about the QRF vest. Now, I'm sorry it took me so long to get it to you guys. We've had some complications along the way, but finally we're here and we're gonna talk about it. So first thing off the bat I wanna say is the QRF kit is capable of everything. Guys, when I first started building this QRF kit, my intentions were worst doomsday scenario possible. What is the worst situation that could go down? And what stuff could I attach and utilize for just a simple vest, just a simple loadout that I could keep in the in a safe and secure place in my house, in a vehicle, and just any places that I could readily keep this readily available to me, but also be super effective in a doomsday scenario, and also possibly active shooter would be a more likelier thing to happen. But also, this is really heavy for something such as get in get out kind of situation. It is a QRF vest, which QRF is only for getting in getting out, and if you're carrying something this heavy or this much to it, I definitely would suggest getting in and getting out. So and it's not equipped. You'll notice that the few things that I do have with it, it's not equipped for a 12-hour engagement, and that's the point that I tried to make in the last video, is this is not for 12-hour engagements. This is specifically for getting in and getting out. And that's hence the reason why it's called QRF. So we're going to break this video up into a few things. One, we're just going to talk about all the things that the vest has the options for, everything that I've put together on this vest to make things a little bit more better for me in a doomsday scenario, things that tools that I have could have readily available for me. And then we're going to be talking about breaching options, and then we're going to be talking about, again, the universal attachments that I've made. The universal is going to be last because I kind of already talked about it last video, and it's kind of just one of those things where it's a little redundant. But without further ado, let's jump into it. So going from top to bottom, guys, the captain's bars is just an inside joke. Hence the plaque right here. It's just an inside joke. I just I have it there for an ornament and just laugh. So don't start saying paraphernalia or whatever. Anyways, moving on. Next up, we've got patches. Patches are optional, guys. That's up to you, whatever you like. Me personally, I have the Christian flag and the Demon Hunter patch down here. The Christian flag just because that's what I believe in and I love to represent it. Then Demon Hunters because I'm a huge Demon Hunter fan. If you haven't, if you couldn't tell yet. So moving on. Next up on the left here, we have a Glock magazine, just for the the G19 that I carry. Now, the thing about the pistol pouch that I have here is it is capable of holding other magazines, and we'll get to that in the last portion of this video, but keep that in mind. So I've got one right here with the universal pouch, and then we'll just go over to the right. I've got a utility pouch right here that basically is for office supplies such as pens, pencils, Sharpies, stuff like that, paper, maps, anything like that. And you never know when those things could come in handy. So anyways, moving on. Next up, we've got the shotgun shells right here. I personally love this attachment. It allows like a little bit what we talked about the last video, basically keeping the fantastic trio together. Having means of being able to have a pistol and a rifle and a shotgun. Those are all important weapons. Again, the fantastic trio just makes for a that much more. In my opinion, I think the Fantastic Trio is a must in everybody. If you're gonna be a firearms owner, you gotta at least own one of all three of those. You gotta own a rifle, you gotta own a shotgun, and you gotta own a pistol. An AR style rifle. That's just my personal belief. If you're gonna get into the gun world, you gotta know a little bit about all three of those. Basically, basic rifles, basic firearms for the firearm industry. So moving on. Next up, we've got the Moss Oak fixed blade. I totally agree with fixed blades, just because the collapsible ones, like the $16 ones you buy at the gas stations, aren't the most reliable ones out there. So finding something that's a little bit more, not the collapsible one, something a little bit more sturdier, highly recommend something like that. Next up, we've got a hydration pack on the back here. Perfect for staying hydrated, guys. In those high stressful situations, we don't often think about, hey, you need to drink some water, you need to get some you need to hydrate, you need to get some fluids in you. It's always nice just having that readily available to you. Next up, we've got the rifle magazines themselves, and then we've got the universal pouches themselves. And again, we'll talk about that in the last in the last portion of the video. Next up on the left here, we have nice little cutters. Again, I do have the shears right here, which are mainly for the medical use of things. Because these things will cut through anything. They're amazing. Used to use them back on the fire department. They were great there too. These shears are specifically cutters tools for flex cuffs. Flex cuffs, I've got them, got a nice little belt keeper attached to the back here. God forbid I should ever find myself in a situation where I need to detain someone or something. That's the thing too. You never know when you're gonna just need this to be, need something to attach to something else. So it's not necessarily just for people, it's for objects and other things too. So next up, we've got the utility pouch on the back here that also has a nice little chem light. Guys, one thing I want to make very clear is when we're talking about anything on your backside, keep it for the guys behind you. If you've got a squad, if you've got a bunch of people with you that you put together a kit and 3 of your other buddies have kits and stuff like that, and you guys are going to squad up and join, if you guys are going to join up for a task force or whatever the situation you may find yourself in, if you're keeping it on your back, make sure that it's for those people behind you and not for yourself. Don't try to one-man army everything. And you do have means of keeping a third weapon on you. Of course, these are things that are rarely available. But don't make it so you're carrying too much. Too much is too much. When it's over cumbersome and you don't, it just weighs too much on you. Some of that stuff you need to start looking at and be like, man, is this really necessary? You don't need to have everything on you. The more you know, the less you need. So let's move on. Next up, we've got a nice little utility pouch on the side here. We've got a nice little tourniquet, some other medical stuff in there. Mainly, again, keeping that workspace nice and organized. If I'm playing medic or anything like that, and I've got the means to help either a chest wound or again a bullet hole on the side, maybe a limb or something like that, I've got this nice little tourniquet that will keep that red stuff in your body like it's supposed to be. Next up, I've got a nice little tomahawk here, mainly for that survival purpose, or maybe a breaching tool. Regardless, it makes for a nice little cutter. Makes for a nice little hatchet. Again, that's more of the survival situation. It's not necessarily a used for active shooter type of situation. So guys, that's pretty much it. That's all we really need to talk about when we're talking about the chest rig. So let's get into the 5 breaching tools that you could have readily available to you, or that 5 breaching tools that would be necessary, let's say, in a situation where you need to either get out of something or get into something to help somebody. So next up, when we're talking about breaching tools and stuff like that, the first, I have 3 options here with me, but the other 2 options are not with me, just because I've never really owned it and never really found a use to, me personally, I don't have a use for owning it just yet. Now that doesn't mean here in the near future, I'm, probably am going to own it at some point, but at the moment I don't. So let's talk about the 3 breaching tools that I do have with me, and then we're going to talk about the 2 breaching tools that I don't. So the first one is going to be that tomahawk again. This is going to be a nice little breaching tool for when you got to take down doors like this flimsy one behind me. When it's, talking about small wooden doors, not too industrial size, kind of the cheap ones, stuff that you could break through pretty easily. We're talking about a tomahawk at that point. Whether you want to chop off the handle, you probably could in 3 good whacks. This probably could come down pretty easily, or just tearing up that locking mechanism between, getting a wedge in between the door and the lock. Regardless, this tomahawk could be a good multi-tool for other obstacles in your way. Next up, we're going to be talking about the bolt cutters. Bolt cutters are going to be a great option for breaking into things such as padlocks, such as fencing and stuff like that. If you find yourself in a situation that you need to get in or out of something, a good pair of bolt cutters should do the job. Next up for breaching tool, we have the good old trusty and reliable 870 Remington shotgun. So this is going to be probably the third option, and again, when you're talking about keeping this on you, yes, there are tools out there that could make this readily available. You could absolutely carry this on your back, you could carry it on your side, you could carry it wherever you wanted to carry it. However, be mindful that there is a such thing as too much. So not that you shouldn't have the fantastic trio on you at all times, but being a little less ridiculous, guys. If you're gonna have this on you, okay, in all seriousness, if you are going to attach this on you and it's gonna be on your back, don't try to be that guy who pulls out all three of them. Like if you got the rifle sling to you, you keep that to your side, you pull the shotgun out, you breach it. Okay, that's cool if you can do that in a very fluid motion, if you can make that readily available and easier for you. Other than that, if you're gonna have that breaching tool on your back, again, like we talked about earlier, anything you have on your back needs to be for your buddies behind you. It doesn't need to be for you, because you don't need to spend 10 minutes just trying to get back there and act like a turtle on your back. There's no need for keeping too much on you. And again, making that QRF again, we're not talking about conflicts that need the last 12 hours. We're talking about conflicts where we need to get in, get out as quickly as possible. So with that being said, guys, the next breaching tool that I would think is probably one of the best out there, honestly, is going to be the Fireman's Halligan. Now, this tool is a multi-tool used for many other different things, but primarily used for wedging open doors and opening doors, locked doors, wedged doors. It doesn't matter, whatever situation you find yourself in where you need to get behind that door and it just doesn't want to budge. You twisted it, won't open. You can't push, you can't pull it. It's locked or whatever. You find if it's wedged, the framework is kind of caved in on itself, and you need to rip that door open, or if just it's locked or whatever situation you find yourself in, that Halligan tool is going to be perfect for opening up not flimsy doors like this one, a little bit beefier, a little bit heavier doors. It's going to be a great tool for it. So next up after the Halligan, we've got the K12. Guys, the K12 is a beast, and it's exactly why, again, if you're going to be a breacher, dude, that's not something I would carry. I wouldn't carry a huge K12 on my hip right there, and then just put down the rifle and switch over to that monstrosity. Again, if you're going to be a breacher, you're going to be a primary breacher in that situation, where you should find yourself needing a K12. K12s are great for opening up doors. They're great for opening up even getting into metal stuff. K12s are great. Plasma cutters are great too, but if these are all things that need to be readily available to your specific needs, so if you're getting in or getting out of something, it needs to be feasible. Everybody can blow their way through a door. All three of these things are capable of taking down a door, but depending on the situation you find yourself in, which one of these are going to be more likely options, right? So next up, we're going to talk about, guys, the universal magazine pouches. So finally, the universal magazine pouches. Guys, we've already talked about this in the last video, why the Battle Belt was one of my favorite QRF resources, was because of these universal pouches. Guys, this pouch allows me to carry my 6-hour P320 mag, my M9 Beretta magazine. It allows me to carry my Glock magazine, my 1911 magazine. It allows me to carry single stack, double stack mags. Guys, these universal ones are perfect for those situations where you need to find yourself a different weapon. If you have, everybody's getting an AR-15, but if you find yourself in a conflict with Russia or China and their primary weapon is going to be an AK-47, you need to be able to switch out those magazines and load the correct ones you need. So again, we're talking about special calibers. We're talking about other magazines. We're talking about other rifles, and of course, if you're if you're gonna call yourself a gun guy, you got to have at least one of everything, right? And I absolutely do. I've got one AR. I've got 308. I've got a couple of couple of ARs, a couple of 308s, a couple of AKs and stuff like that. It's important to be modular in those regards of being able to go from one firearm system to another. Everybody's getting AR-15, but if you're up against a regime such as Russian tanks running down the U.S. streets and whatnot, or Chinese tank running down the American streets, we need to be able to if I run out of ammo out of my AR-15 and I pick up some dude's AK, I need to be able to switch out my ammo supply, right? So if I got AR mags and I've got an AK-47, clearly that's not going to work. So I need to be able to ditch this stuff and adapt and overcome, right? So that we're talking about a few different options here. So just be mindful of that. Just be mindful that you got to be universal, just in case of situations break out that, of course, you're not expecting, right? That's the whole point of expect the unexpected. So with that being said, guys, the vest and the battle belt are supposed to work in conjunction. So I don't have my secondary on me right now just because I left the QRF battle belt where it's at, but having these things readily available and having all of these things together as a collective and working in conjunction with with the vest, with the belt with the vest. Yes, you could absolutely have them work for themselves. They could be standalone. I designed them to be standalone. I could use the belt if I just wanted to run the belt, or I could run the chest rig if I just wanted to run the chest rig. But in conjunction, I've got everything. I've got the gas mask, I've got my pistol, I've got my rifle, I've got means of keeping them fed. It just works better that way, and of course the body armor. Body armor I am currently using is Spartan body armor. Spartan's armor systems is one of my favorite. I'm not sponsored in any way or anything like that. I just simply believe in the product. So when it comes down to body armor, guys, I love Spartan armor. Spartan armor is great. I've got level 3A. I can't remember. I've got good body armor on that's pretty durable and pretty pretty helpful in a stressful situation. So yes, it absolutely does add a little bit of weight, sure, but when you're in a high stress situation and when you're working out and when you're training for this stuff, there's gonna be some ease with it. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. All I have for you guys for the QRF vest. I hope you guys liked it. Some of the likelier situations, let's go ahead and talk about some of the situations and the scenarios. Okay, guys, so why would I need a QRF vest? Guys, why is a good question. But guys, there have, with the year 2020 being no exception, there has been absolutely crazy phenomena that have broke out in the United States. We've had riot problems, we have had mob problems, we have had all kinds of peaceful protesting problems. We have seen how easy a natural disaster such as a hurricane down in our southern states, we have seen how easy it is for chaos to just reign. People started looting houses. Situations went from bad to worse just because of a simple natural disaster. Tornadoes, hurricanes. When it just start looking like apocalypse situations, people go crazy and people just turn on one another in an instant. And if you live in a kind of a questionable area, you need to be prepared. And if you are a law-abiding citizen with a good, clean background, these things are readily available to you. That's what all this channel is all about, is civilians who are able or who are capable of being of protecting themselves and others. Guys, the way I like to look at this vest is insurance. You don't run around in your vehicle without insurance, because you could inflict danger upon yourself or others, any kind of bodily injury. God forbid you have an accident. You don't run around without insurance on your vehicle. Same thing with your life. I wouldn't run around in a hurricane. I wouldn't want to run around in a active shooter situation in a riot, if my town started having a riot, I wouldn't want to run around or be around that situation without insurance on me. And this stuff is that insurance for me. So regardless if you guys believe in it or not, regardless if you guys agree with it or not, let me know down in the comments below. Yay, nay, you think it's a bunch of bull. I hear it all the time, guys. I get it. I understand the pros and I understand the cons to it. But guys, there is nothing more, and I always go back to the Second Amendment when we're talking about this stuff, because of what the Second Amendment, just the Constitution of the United States, the Second Amendment itself says it's, in such a, just in a fantastic way that I don't feel like I need to explain myself why I need body armor, why I need an AR-15, why I need a shotgun or a pistol, whatever. I don't feel as though I have to explain myself why I need such tools to my advantage, because guys, it's not even just a tyrannical government. The world gets a little crazy sometimes, and sometimes you just need insurance on your side. So anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. I have talked a little bit about everything, from what I have, what it's, some of the uses are. We've talked about breaching options. We've also talked about the universal magazine pouches and why that's so important. Yes, these are the trashy anytime you buy a vest, these are the first things that come with it, and they suck. Yes, I agree, but obviously I've modified mine a little bit more. I've kept the flaps. I don't like the flaps. I don't like that at all. They stay nice in there. If I'm upside down or something, yeah, they're gonna fall out, but I don't like the weird flaps. I digress, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope this kind of helped you'll kind of figure out where you want your QRF loadout to look like, and what you want it to be. What purposes, what usage. I have had like 3 Doomsday scenarios run through my head when I was creating this vest. I had Red Dawn, EMP, zombie apocalypse, any type of situation that could break out. I instantly have it for just, God forbid, something happens. One of the more likelier situations that could happen absolutely is an active shooter situation. However, if you are not somebody who is trained for that type of situation, you don't know what, you don't know active shooter situations, but you sure as heck do know, defending your home and all that goes into it, and knowing your laws and knowing, your rights to this stuff and whatnot. Guys, please be smart with it, and do not do this at home. Don't, last thing I want is to insure somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, to encourage them to do something stupid. So don't do anything stupid. That's the best advice I can probably give you guys. So anyways, guys, take care. I hope you have a fantastic day, and stay safe, America.